Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just give you a brief idea of what we'll do here. Um, the plan originally was I just wanted you to talk about what was going on in Elizabeth City.
Yes, sir.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the police haven't released all the facts from what I've been hearing.
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. All right. So cool. I want you to talk about all that. But before I've got this story I've got to get out.
Okay.
So I want to do this story and have you react to the story after I do it.
Yes, sir.
Before we talk about Elizabeth City.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. You ready?
Anytime, anytime.
All right. I'll do a brief introduction here, and we'll get going.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again for watching. It is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Please subscribe, like, share, hit the notification button so you'll know when we're on. A couple of stories. First of all, I want to welcome Soul to the show. It's always good to have a dose of soul,
Yes.
especially when you're a white man. The more soul you can get, the better off you are. So welcome. I want to do this story that I've got to get out, and I want to get your response to it before we talk about Elizabeth City Soul. Okay, I'm going to read this just the way that it is reported.
Okay.
An unarmed man shot 6 times and killed by Jacksonville police early Wednesday was reaching down inside his car when the officer opened fire, police said. That's how the story begins. Davian Darnell Williams, age 36, had drugs in his socks but no weapons. Following the 2:15 a.m. traffic stop by Officer Jeff Edwards in Arlington, said Police Chief Tom Hackney. Williams had been driving suspiciously in a Burt Road area for known drug activity. Then he began trying to elude Edwards by making sudden turns and running several stop signs, according to the police officer. Let me get, my computer just froze up. Basically, it goes on to say, the police officer, Officer Jeff Edwards, was the only officer there. He had called for backup, but the backup didn't arrive before the incident happened. The incident was Edwards moved around to the passenger side of the vehicle to try to get a better view of what Darnell Williams was doing. Darnell reached down, and the officer fired 7 shots, 6 of which hit Edwards, killing him immediately.
Right.
There's no body cam footage at this time. But there were no weapons found in the vehicle or on Darnell.
Right.
He had, I'm going from memory because my old technology computer locked up on me. He had 1.6 grams of crack in one sock and just under 1 gram of powdered cocaine in the other sock. The officer, because there was just one there.
Okay.
He had no idea he had anything on him. Do you feel targeted when you're in a vehicle? So,
I feel targeted whether I'm in the vehicle or not.
okay.
I mean,
Right.
just this situation right here alone is kind of similar to what happened to Andrew. It's got some similarities to it.
That's kind of why I wanted to introduce this report, if you will, even though I didn't get to read it exactly as I wanted to, but that's the gist of it. And I'll talk more about it in an upcoming episode when there is some footage available.
Right.
Because that matters, and that also ties into what's going on down there in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. 20 seconds of body cam footage.
Oh yeah.
Released to family members and attorneys.
Correct.
The thus far. Now, tomorrow, supposedly, the family is going to get to see more footage.
Supposedly tomorrow. The times are kind of off right now. Like I'm not really sure about the times right now. I can't confirm them. What I'm hearing, the latest news is 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think that the family and the attorneys are supposed to see 20 minutes of 2 hours worth of footage.
Okay, so they're still going to see an edited version.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. All right. Now, let's just go back to that day. You were on the scene of the incident within a short amount of time of it happening, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I didn't actually see him get murdered, but
Right.
we was actually one of the first ones on the scene. Actually, yes. Me, my wife,
Okay.
and actually, it was a woman. I want to give. I mean, if you can, let me please give her the credit that she deserves. But the young woman, Kelly White, that's she's here. She's a native here. If it wasn't for her, none of us would be in the position where we're in now. So I just want to make sure that everybody understand. She was out there. She noticed a couple of discrepancies. Not as much as maybe I noticed, to the point to where they started scrambling around and stuff. But definitely to the point to where it got their attention. Like, okay, wait a minute, people are paying attention to what's going on out here.
Okay, so it was Kelly White was there on the scene first, then you and your wife,
Yes.
and then others started coming. But talk to us. What did you see that, or what has Kelly White said that she saw that was that's out of the ordinary, that's troubling, or that needs to get out?
When we first got on the scene, we was under the impression that there was a 14-year-old involved, a 14-year-old child. So, I mean, of course, in the community, it happened in the school zone already, a school zone where my wife grew up in exactly. So we frequent that street a lot, and I mean, it was just a concern. Like the day was off. It's not a day that we usually go like in that early in the morning. But everything was just off. We go there, we see that the same people are picking up shell casings, they're tampering with evidence, like cleaning up the scene type stuff. They're like looking through the car. I mean, it's just stuff that you're seeing like in broad daylight. Like what are y'all doing? And then it switched the narrative to another police force that was in Dare County, a neighboring city. It's like right close to us where the beach and tourism is, Nags Head and all of that stuff is. A lot of discrepancies came into that because our Pasquotank Sheriff Department was telling everybody that it was Dare County officers that actually did the shooting. They also put the narrative out about the 14-year-old. So we found out later on that there was no 14-year-old ever involved. There was no 14-year-old ever killed there. So I mean,
so this sounds like smoke. This sounds like it's total smoke and mirrors right from the start. Let me go back because I know some viewers are going to have a question.
Yes.
Are you saying that the officers that actually did the shooting were the ones policing the area, so to speak, and picking up the shell casings?
Yes, sir.
Or were they investigators?
Okay. Let me walk it through so that the viewers can understand what it was that I'm saying I seen. All right. So from the time that I got there, the sheriffs was still there. The ones that's in question right now.
The ones that did the shooting, the ones that were involved, were all still there.
Yes. The Elizabeth City Police Department.
Hold on just a second. I want to ask this too.
Okay.
Did they call for medical assistance for Andrew Brown? Did they try to save his life after the car hit the tree? Do we know any of that?
I cannot tell you that. What I can tell you is this, though. I mean, in according to what the question is that you just asked, there was no like no hospital reports or anything of any officers being hurt or injured or anything like that. There was nothing on the scanners because we was listening to the scanners too. So there was nothing on the scanner saying that there was like a suspect in custody or anything like that. The only thing that we heard on the scanner was that they let us know pretty much it was a police shooting. You know, basically the police was the ones that did the shooting.
Okay. All right. But when you got there, was Andrew still in the car, or had his body been transported?
No, when we arrived, Andrew had already been pulled out of the car because he was actually pulled out of the car by the officers.
Okay.
He was pulled out of the car and he was already on, the ground when we got there.
He was laying on the ground when you got there.
Yes.
All right, and then did EMS come shortly after, or the morgue, or?
It was kind of crazy when EMS came initially. I don't know what happened with that because they made them turn around. Like we could see them actually turn around. So EMS didn't. It looked like they might have was gonna respond, but then they didn't respond. Like they kind of like turned around and then EMS came back like hours later on. I think this is my opinion that I'm giving you on this one. I do believe that I think they might have had already announced him dead already, and because of the investigation or whatnot, they just told it, them to turn around. But that's just my opinion on that one.
Okay. All right. But so how long did they leave him laying there?
It was over 4 hours.
4 hours? They had him laying on the street for 4 hours?
It was over 4 hours. Knocking on 5 hours. I mean, we was out there from the time that they. I guess after they did what they did to him, to after everything was done, like them pulling the car on the record to.
You were out there for the.
Was out there for the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get video footage?
You can go on. You can go on my Facebook page. Cause my wife and like the community has actually like been putting a lot of stuff together where I've been involved in it. But my wife has a lot of stuff that she put on my page. That was dealing with that, the first day, like, ground zero.
All right. We'll do that. We'll direct people to your Facebook page then.
Yes.
And before we forget, we also have to direct people to EC Justice.
Yes.
Facebook page. EC
Yes.
Justice.
Yes.
Where all the information's coming out there.
Right.
And we've been trying to keep eyes focused on Elizabeth City. It's not like there's, it's not like Indianapolis, Louisville, Drayshawn Reed in Indianapolis, Breonna Taylor and others in Louisville, where there are millions of people, and there's always somebody wanting to protest and get involved in. This is a little town.
Right.
Comparatively speaking.
I mean, the numbers fluctuate depending on who it is that you talk to, but with us being at least 18,000, a lot of people wouldn't think that we would get the exposure because of what happened, but the community came together at a time, and we're dealing with the same thing that anybody else in America would be dealing with on both sides. We're dealing with the racism on both sides. So, I mean, we came together as a community, and we realized that we had to get the information out, to everybody else because of our community being so small, and with everybody that's pouring in with the support and getting the message out. The community has not rioted or did any, like evil protesting and stuff like they've tried to put out. Like, we haven't done any of that stuff. And we was just promised transparency from the beginning, and we just haven't got it. So it's real hard, man. It's hard.
I was one of the first to report this story, and the video footage I had that first day, within a couple hours of it happening, all it showed was a blue tent covering the car and the scene.
Yes.
And yeah, okay. How long? I mean, did that come up fairly quickly after the incident? Or?
The blue tent came up quick. The blue tent was, okay. But it's just that because they was hoping, I guess, that a lot of people wasn't gonna be out there, or they was gonna be able to do whatever it was, they could do before anybody arrived. It's like they was almost kind of cocky with it. The tent wasn't like fully exposing him at first or anything like you could see him like right there by the car. I mean, like, there was a lot of variables in there to let you know that the sheriff's office here in Elizabeth City didn't care about whether anybody's seen it or not. I mean, it's apparent now. So, I don't know.
A video on last night's episode. A police officer with a knee on the back of a young black man on the cement, on the pavement, with a gun to his head.
Right.
And while other police are still handcuffing this guy, this young man, that the cops still got the gun to his head with his hand on the trigger. And he gets up, and you're talking about them being cocky about it. He gets up and says, "I hope you got all that on film." He doesn't reholster his gun. He carries his gun pointed towards the ground, but in the direction of the crowd that's gathered. Correct. All the way back around behind cars.
Right.
So some of them are cocky about it, and those men that.
We had people out there that was laughing that day. A lot of the officers that was out there that day was like really like laughing. It was I'm a very reserved guy. And nobody would have expected me, especially, to say anything like this. I'm pretty quiet. This town is a town where you kind of try to stick to yourself a lot.
Yeah.
And just to go out there and just watch how, when Andrew's son came up and he was asking what happened to his dad, and just to hear the constant lies that they told. One instant they told him that Dare County, like I said, they said that the Dare County officers was the officers that killed Andrew. They also told him that Andrew had a weapon, and he brandished the weapon, and they had to kill him. They said that he had drugs, which we all found out that that's not true. That's public record. He had no weapons on him. He had no drugs on him, and I think if you've looked at the Roland Martin show, he did an interview where he actually walked you through it, like to the scene and everything, which I haven't had a chance to actually do that yet. I just feel like right now our position in the world, I mean, right now in Elizabeth City, is to make sure that we get these top officials and these sheriffs taken care of. Like we don't need to drop the ball when it comes to that, because it can happen again.
You mentioned the Roland Martin show, and he had a segment on there where the neighbor, an assault rifle bullet had gone through the neighbor's house.
Yes.
Went through the porch, went through the awning on the porch, went through the front wall, went through an interior wall, and bounced off a crock pot sitting on his cabinet at the back of his kitchen.
Yes. He said that his wife usually sits in the chair where the bullet like last hit, and just so happened she just wasn't sitting there that day, but that's usually where she sits at.
She had left for work early that day.
Right.
Yeah, crazy.
Yes, crazy. It is.
All right, so we got everybody knowing who you are, going to your Facebook page. And looking for Kelly White and looking for EC Justice.
Right. Also look for and I really want y'all to understand that, I mean, the collective, like, we couldn't do this right now if it wasn't for a couple of the councilmen that kind of like stepped out of the quote unquote norm. I guess because the norm now is just being silent and hoping that everything like blows over. Or, but we had a couple of the councilmen that stepped up. We had a couple of our activists. I mean, because we're made activists now, like normal people made activists. We didn't want this to happen to our city, but if it wasn't for, these guys that done picked up the torch and actually helped us get the word out, I mean, I have to shout them out if you'll let me. It's not many. It's not many, but I just want to make sure that I give a shout out first to my wife because she's been bearing with me, Nikki Moore. So like y'all can go on her Facebook page too. She has a lot of lives dealing with this situation that was going on that day too. So it's informative.
Nikki Morris.
Nikki Morris. N-I-K-I Morris. And my Facebook page is DTG SOUL and then Morris. So it's DTG-SOUL and then Morris. But then we got Daniel Bowser. We call him Chop. Orange Juice Jones is what you can call him on Facebook. But and Maria Cookie LaFrance, I think her name is, but we call him Cookie. Like she has a channel on Facebook called Cookie's Corner. Like we have a lot of preachers that came out. Everybody's kind of stepping out of the norm now just because of the situation, man. I just wanted to give the credit because it's not just me. It didn't just start with me, but I realized it could have been me, and now everybody else that's getting, helping out and stuff like that, they realize that could have been them too. So it's a collective effort, and I just want to give, the respect due to where, the people that's helping.
And the respect is justified because this isn't like Black Lives Matter International people came in.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I appreciate.
You people are doing it on the ground. You people.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate the Black Lives Matter movement, but I'm not affiliated with that. And in other words, what I'm saying is I didn't sign up to be in the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh no. What I'm saying is you're kind of a self-created activist. You weren't asking to be an activist.
Oh no. Yeah.
You became an activist.
Yeah, true indeed. Well, I served in the military. I mean, when you serve your country, you done been to other countries, you done fought, for the country. It just gives you a sickening feeling when you realize that you're still fighting for your freedom here. You know what I'm saying? Like at any given moment, they can take away your life, your privileges, or anything just because. And I mean, it's alarming.
You fought for a country that does not, that 100% of the people don't respect you.
Right, true indeed. I mean, it's not everybody. To be honest with you, I've seen a lot of people come together here that I've never met before in my life, so it's funny. I didn't know they lived here, but I mean, it's a lot of us realize that it's important what's going on right now, and we need to fix it.
And you need to keep getting the voice out there, and you need to keep eyes on Elizabeth City, and that's what we're trying to do with this episode.
I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Right now, what we're doing, we're trying to do like things in the collective. So we got a lot of people doing things where we can change some of these laws that we deem still Jim Crow. So they're still part of the Jim Crow process. We got people that's trying to make changes and get different revenues and stuff like that was stripped from our city, dealing with these top officials and stuff like that we're talking about now. So we're kind of in the phase of, trying to comfort the family, try to get justice for the family, and at the same time, we need to try to rebuild because our top officials have let us down. They're asking us to trust them, and at the same time, they're slapping us all in the face. And it's just, it makes you fight harder if that's what it is that you believe in. I just want to make sure everybody get a fair shake here. So, that's what we're at.
What I say on here a lot is that that it takes all things. It takes people protesting. keeping attention on it. It takes people in politics to actually make changes. It takes people with protection to make sure communities are safe.
Right.
It takes people on social media, and it takes people like us in independent, non-traditional media
Right.
to know the truth on things. All of these things have to keep happening to move anything forward.
Right.
It can't be just one. You're not going to take something by force alone.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But force can protect your community.
Right. I mean, that's the problem that we had when this first broke. You know, we had all these mainstream medias coming in, CNN and all of them, and you know, they're on the scene and they want to talk, but it's almost like they want to kind of like twist the narrative. Like at first, it was the angry mobs are protesting, and you know all of this cockamamie stuff that's coming up instead of like sticking to the script. So I was very reserved about who it was that I was going to talk to about any of this stuff, because I don't want anybody to get it twisted that it's a black and white thing here. We've not one time made it about that. If you look at, the protesting and everything that's going on, we have all nationalities marching with us. So, I mean, the narrative has been clear from the beginning that the sheriff department has tried to control it. You know, the news medias and everything that they're putting out, they're trying to control it. And we have these other people that, including myself, that are fighting to try to, put out to let y'all know that, hey, man, we're not doing any of that, but we are seeking justice. We are asking for them to be honest about what it was that they promised us in the beginning. I mean, we had a sheriff here that last year we did a protest, a peaceful protest in honor of George Floyd, and the sheriff gets up and he speaks on how you can call him. He's against all police brutality or anything, and here it is. We find out you're giving the call, you knew about this. After you said that you didn't know anything about it, you was being transparent about it. You was trying to tell them to give the tapes up. To be honest with you, we just found out a couple of days ago, maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, that he gave the word, or through an interview, that he told the other sheriffs that they need to take their families and leave for their safeties. And I'm thinking to myself, like, ain't that aiding and abetting? Because the FBI is here investigating these officers right now. You just gave them the green light to just, y'all just go ahead and leave. So it's like, what do you want us to do as a people here in the community when we don't know who to trust, really?
Yeah. And so the thing that bothered me from the start was immediately after the incident, when the police saw the body cam footage, the first thing they did was declare a state of emergency.
Correct. Yeah, they punished us.
And so that just told everybody right away what's on that tape.
Right.
That's
right.
not, whatever's on that tape is not good, or they're not going to declare a state of emergency.
Right. I hope, because my hope is that the city stay peaceful, because the 20 seconds that the lawyer described to us and some of the family members that, that they seen was horrific. It was nothing like positive about it coming from the sheriff department from the 20 seconds that they seen. And now, you're basically slapping the family in the face, like every time that you show like snippets of this tape of watching, what I'm saying, their son, their dad, their, whoever get murdered. And now you're just giving them 20 minutes. So it's like, it's going to cause, I feel like it's going to cause an uproar, but at the same time, we're just trying to get the city to stay peaceful and let the FBI do their job first. Let's find out what the FBI do.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on here, sir.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you're doing, man. I really do.
I appreciate your service to the country.
Oh, yes, sir.
And anytime a strong younger black man and an older white dude can get together and talk, it's a positive thing.
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't happen enough, and people need to see it more.
Right.
Because the more we talk, the more people understand that, man, we got so much more in common as people there's so many people that try to use racism to divide us and keep us divided, and we all rise together.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Like I said, it's gonna take a collective effort. We gotta stop this, man. I mean, they're killing all of us, man. They're killing all of us out here.
I don't want my grandkids dealing with it. I don't want my great grandkids dealing with it. And I know you don't either.
No, me neither.
So we gotta come together and stop it somehow, all of us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right. Hey, much respect for what you're doing in your community. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yes, sir.
We'll get back on here and do this again anytime.
Yes, sir. Just look forward to my lives, cause I'm gonna be out there, so they know what Facebook page to go on down there to check it out. But anytime something going on, just look for me. We're going out there.
If you're watching the American Doofus show, watch for him, because you never know when I'm going to be popping into one of his lives and getting it out to you when things are happening, because he's on the ground all the time. Much respect to you, soul.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It is the American Doofus show. Don't be a doofus. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Blessings to all of you. Peace, love, and don't be a doofus. It's the American Doofus show. Thank you, man.
Oh yeah, man. You have a good one.
It'll be up about 3 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.